Big City 101.3 FM, waking up with TaylaAndre. Good rising, good rising. I'm feeling some type of way. It's called sleepy. I'm so tired. This event draining me of all my life force. When you pregnant with purpose, Lord of mercy. I want to give a huge shout out again, continuously, to all of the graduates, all of those that are graduating. No, not if you're going from the 8th grade to the 9th grade, but if you are a graduate, shout out to you. Congratulations. As far as news is concerned, the Wheel of Fortune apologizes for using slave images during Southern Charm Week. So, you know how in the background they have pictures and they have like the fake facade of what you're going to win or what the theme is. They had like Annabella types, feel, old school Southern slave master house with 2 depicted slaves on each side of the home. And it was Southern Charm Week, and the Wheel of Fortune has apologized for using a backdrop for its Southern Charm Week that appeared to show African Americans. It didn't appear. I love language. I love how they use language to make you feel like, no, it's nothing to really worry about. That made it appear to be African Americans dressed as slaves on a plantation. Someone please tell me why the Wheel of Fortune has slaves in their Southern Charm Week images, wrote a Twitter user, Joshua Iota, alongside the video of the backdrop being used on the show, and that is what started everything. Mind you, if somebody didn't post, if Joshua did not post on Twitter, if Joshua did not make a scene, if Joshua did not record it, it would have been unnoticed. Like, nobody would have said nothing. It would have been perfectly fine. Whoever was in charge of the images wouldn't have got in trouble. They wouldn't have had to apologize. That Southern Charm Week. And we're not going to show you, like, apple pies and grandma baking. Or catfish and grits. Like, what are some other Southern Charm images that could have been used other than an old Southern plantation with slaves? Go. You can name anything. Go. In other news, 6 members of Trump's HIV/AIDS Advisory Board resign in protest. 6 members of the Presidential Advisory Council on HIV and AIDS, PACHA, P-A-C-H-A, have resigned in protest over the Trump administration because they say Donald Trump has no strategy to address the ongoing AIDS/HIV epidemic. I started to think, was it going to be useful or wise, or would it be possible to work with this administration? Said Scott Scioltis, counsel and the HIV project director at Lambda Legal. And they told reports that still a decision has not been made to stick out. What are they going to do? What are the next moves? And so six of the advisory boards have left. I think that is insane. This isn't even like the War Council. I don't even know if that's a real thing. This isn't even like an epidemic. We're no longer in like the epidemic stages of HIV like we once were. It's still an issue. It's still a problem. It still needs to be addressed. But when 6 members step down and say we can't work with this administration, that is... Please tell me how many people stepped down from Clinton? How many people stepped down from Obama? How many people stepped down from Bush? 1 or 2? Republicans can't work with him. The HIV and AIDS Council can't work with him. Y'all better pray for your president. I don't care how much you like him, dislike him, hate him. You better pray for this man. Because he needs prayer. God said pray for your enemies. And if you hate him just that much, you need to start praying for him. Because decisions that are being made still affect you. And I would love to take this opportunity to tell you how much... Yesterday I posted a video on Facebook. I went ahead, I called my elected official. I called Sonia Chang Diaz's office. I also called Byron Russian's office. I also called a few others that were on the list. I went Facebook Live for some of them. It didn't make sense for me to Facebook Live and keep y'all on, live for 25 minutes going through the phone calls. But I definitely said that I was going to call, and I can't ask you to call. I can't ask you to call your politicians. I can't ask you to do something that I myself am not willing to do. So I went live to prove how easy it is. And all the information is on Facebook. I'll copy and paste it again in case you don't want to scroll down and find it. But if you, contact me any means of social media, if you only deal with email, TaylaAndre, gmail.com. TaylaAndre, gmail.com. And I'll go ahead and I'll send you the script. And you say, hey, my name is such and such. I live in Representative such and such district. I'm calling about the new marijuana law that is about to, the House is about to vote on. The proposal excludes people with past marijuana convictions from taking part of the new economy and completely eliminates the part about providing opportunities for the communities most harmed by the war on drugs. These these changes are unacceptable, and I urge Representative so-and-so, whoever you're calling at that moment, to work to oppose them in the final bill. Thank you. The whole script is right there, laid out for you. You had no guessing. We took the guesswork out. Shout out to Attorney Lindsay. Shout out to the council, the lobbyists that are working closely to make sure that this bill is not the bill that does not allow us into the industry, does not hit the floor, get voted on, and pass as a law. Right now it's just a bill. Y'all remember the bill, Schoolhouse Rock? It still got some time. It still got some things to do. In other news, it is so hot in the Southwest that planes cannot take off. So from southwestern United States, from California to Arizona, it's expected to see prolonged records of temperatures this week, with temperatures in some places rising as high as 120 degrees Fahrenheit. It shouldn't be that hot, baby. The most dangerous temperatures are expected Monday through Wednesday, though extreme heat could linger into Thursday. Temperatures are expected to peak on Tuesday in the Death Valley of California, and they are reporting as high as 127 degrees, as well as the Colorado River Valley could see temperatures as high as 122. These record high temperatures are a sign that the monsoon season is right around the corner. The Southwest often sees the highest temperatures this time of year, right before the right before the monsoons hit, and I forgot. I can be honest. I forgot that we had monsoons. I forgot. I was like, hold on, what's a monsoon again? I had to go back and research it last night. I was like, oh yeah, we did learn about that in school. It's been so long since monsoons have hit, and the tragedy of a monsoon. It took me a minute to remember what they were. 1,000 likes or I will drop him. This is some of the most irresponsible parenting I've ever seen in my life. A father dangles his son out of the window and is on Facebook Live talking about 1,000 likes or I will drop him. This is a little baby. I want to say he's about 18 months old. He's teeny tiny. He's an Algerian father. He was sentenced on Monday to 2 years in prison after he dangled his infant son out of the window and demanded likes on Facebook. According to report, Facebook users rightfully panicked and went ahead and contacted authorities. The father promised to drop him. One of the things that bothers me most is I was at a party recently, graduation party, and one of my little cousins was there. She's like, ooh, I got 11 likes on Snapchat. No, notifications. I got 11 notifications on Snapchat. I said, baby, what that mean? What that mean? She's like, 11 people trying to hit me up. Hold on. Give me your phone. Go read a book. Go sit yourself down somewhere and be humble. What is 11 notifications? what are we teaching our children about the importance of social media and what it means to be like the importance of social media, the being special? Like, nah, put your phone down. I can make you put your phone down. These kids this summer, so far I have 4 children in my care. I'm about to open a daycare the way my life is set up. I'm so sincere. Because every summer, every vacation, TT Tayla, Auntie Tayla, end up having a million damn kids. I really think I'm about to open a daycare. But they gonna have their phone down. We have documentaries lined up. I want to have, you guys remember the disabled scholar? I have his book. I'm going through the disabled scholar, making sure that each child is in a different grade. So each child has work to do. Each child has a different app to download on their phone. Each child has a book that they finna read. And because we learned yesterday that a child from David Heber, that a child should read a book a week, we have library cards. We're going to a library once a week. These children have, just because you out of school don't mean education stops. Not in my house. Mattel launches new diverse Ken dolls. Before I continue, I just want to let you know that the Queens of Africa have been diverse since day one. She can have kente cloth. She can have original garb from Kenya. She can have an afro. She can have curly hair. She can have whatever you like. The Queens of Africa doll. I'm going to donate a Queens of Africa doll to the cookout, the Everything is Real cookout that is taking place, that gives away over $5,000 in toys to neighborhood kids. It's in Franklin Park, over there by the American Legion side. And shout out to Allah of Everything is Real, because I believe this is the 5th or 6th annual cookout, and all of the money comes out of pocket. Whatever's donated is donated, but as far as the food, which is free food, comes out of pocket. This is once a year. He does it for the community. He does it for the people, straight out of his pocket. It's for the love of the people. So shout out to him. If you have any, new toys that you would like to donate to youth that most likely don't have toys, their parents aren't, bank accounts aren't set up like that, checking in savings, or if you just want to donate some money to help with food, or if you got that blue card, swiping, no swiping, you can help them out with. Everything is Real on Dudley Street, right next to the fire station. But Mattel launches their new diverse Ken dolls with cotton candy hair color, a cute afro, skinny ties, the rompers. Those are just a few that stand out in the new edition of Mattel's Fashionista Barbie line. Interesting enough, all of the dolls look like most of the people that we always seen all the time as far as Ken dolls are concerned. So again, I go back to the Queens of Africa. They are sold in the United States of America, but through the means of somebody who bought them wholesale and then ended up bringing them to the United States and then sells them online. Or you can purchase them yourself online, but I'm going to tell you now, them shippings are no joke. International shipping is like old school, long distance calling. It's like, do you have a calling card? We finna charge you $15,000 for 5 minutes. You guys remember, where your grandma used to say, I'm on the phone long distance, but she was talking to, I remember my grandmother used to be in Birmingham talking to somebody in Selma, or Huntsville, or Montgomery, I'm talking long distance, hold on, we're in the same state. We could drive there. How is that long distance? Them prices used to be ridiculous. I can't tell you, when I was 17, I got in so much trouble for calling a little boy in Louisiana. He used a calling card. My daddy will tell you I racked up like $2,000. I didn't think it was long distance. It shouldn't have been long distance. It was just Louisiana. And now today you can call international, no problem. Next, if you are daydreaming about buying a home or need to lower the payment that you already have on one, you may pay a visit to the Quicken Loans Mortgage Calculator. You'll be asked a quick question about, how much cash do you have on hand, how much is your house worth, so on and so on. And they are finding that Quicken will tell you how much you owe per month based on that, information that you give them. But the truth of the matter is they are not adhering to any private policy or privacy policy. That's all that information is then now sold to the highest bidder with your email address, and Quicken Loans has always been a problem for me. Not just Quicken Loans, but they also came out with a tax service. And you can do your taxes online, and they ended up stealing like 500,000 people's information. I'm good. Y'all better go down to QuickLink tax service on Blue Hill across the street from Packy's and stop trusting everybody. I want to give a huge shout out because I hope this is so true. Former Attorney General Eric Holder is returning to the spotlight as part of an ongoing resistance to President Donald Trump, and that may include a potential presidential bid. Could you imagine Eric Holder as president? Reports say that the former Attorney General's goal is to lead the legal resistance to the Donald Trump agenda and perhaps even run against the president in 2020. Up to now, I have been more than behind the scenes, Holders told reports, but that's about to change. I have a certain status as a former Attorney General, a certain that word's difficult for me, familiarity, as the first African-American Attorney General, and 3 sources have spoken to him and are familiar with his thinking and saying that Eric Holder is considering the White House run in 2020. We hope that is true. We would love to see that. I would love to see the debates. In sad news, Philando Castile video has been released. If you have not seen it, I do not feel comfortable posting it. Once upon a time, I know I was ignorant in my knowledge, and I posted Trayvon Martin's body, and I will never put us on display like that again. And when I saw this video, as far as Diamond is concerned, his fiance, as far as the little girl that was in the back, Deja, I believe her name is, like, to watch this video, that man had his hand on his gun from jump. And his hand kept crawling up that holster, and I could tell you that if anything like this happened to Anari or Asaria, I would be Philando Castile's mother. And I hope he died tonight. When she said that, I can't tell you the goosebumps that ran like all over my body. Really quickly, rap legend Prodigy from our deep is dead at 42. Our condolences, hugs and loves and kisses, peace and blessings to his family. I can't imagine how much they miss him, thinking about how much we miss him. And we're not even blood relatives. We don't even know him like that. We just know the music and the rhymes. So our condolences, and I look forward to his going away party, because I believe just like Biggie had a going away party, we had a going away party for Pac, we definitely will have one for him as well. Akeem Broder, the brother of Khalif Broder, is throwing his hat into the ring and running for mayor of New York City against Mayor Bill de Blasio. We have a problem with the way New York is being run, especially by de Blasio, Broder said in a report. Specifically, he said that de Blasio promises to close Rikers Island, the prison where his brother was held for 3 years without being convicted of a crime, was simply lip service. During an election year when he knew promises like that would garner support, he knew that would get people to cheer him on. He knew that would get people to vote for him. But that was never his plan, because he has done nothing since to do so. And so Khalif Broder's brother is going to run against the incumbent Democrat, and he is running for mayor. So peace and blessings to him, and I wish I was a New Yorker so I could vote for him. He knows firsthand what Rikers is about, and I want you guys to remember that Rikers is not a prison. It is a jail, and if you can't pay bail, you will sit in there until you do. or until you plead guilty and go on and wait out your case, and they take the time that you already served and put that towards the time. Like, do you know how many people cop a deal, plea a deal, just to get out of jail? Just to go ahead and have that time served and say, I'm guilty, when they're not. And he said, listen, I'm not agreeing to this. I'm not guilty. I didn't do anything. He sat in there jail for 3 years, solitary confinement, came out and took his own life. How many people, I don't know if you guys remember, about a year and a half, maybe even 2 years ago, we had a psychiatrist who was in Rikers Island who wrote a book about the things that she's seen while she was there, the violence she's seen, the psychological warfare that those men go through. I'm going to find that show and repost that. And really quickly, last but not least, Native Americans walk out of a musical depicting rape and racist stereotypes. The University of Wyoming is warning audiences about an offensive material in the traveling musical after Native American high school students walked out a performance of the Fantastics. The walkout happened Thursday during the intermission. The Lameen Boomerang reported that it's not clear how many students actually walked out, but the Native American Summer Institute at the campus said that they will never support anything like this, and they are blown away that this was even posted as something that people would want to see, a musical that people would have to pay for. The 1960 musical, which is about two neighboring fathers who trick their children into falling in love by pretending to fight, contains a scene in which characters dress up as villainized Native Americans. Attendees said that they were so shocked at the casual use of the word rape in the music's dialogue that they couldn't. They just got up and walked out, and they demand that this show does not go on and is canceled immediately. Of course, now the University of Wyoming is just saying, well, we just, quick disclosure, y'all may be upset of some of the language and visual that you see, and that's it. But the show will go on. Ain't that America? Home of the free. I have an awesome guest for you, Big City 101.3 FM, Waking Up with TaylaAndre, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 7. Rendell L. Solomon is the principal at Muller and Monroe Asset Manager and Management, and he is also the founder of One Stock, One Future. So do you guys remember, I believe it was on Monday, when I read a story about an uncle who was looking for a present for his niece, and instead of buying her a toy, instead of buying her a Barbie, instead of buying her a big wheel, he went out and purchased her a stock. And from that began a program called One Stock, One Future. Good rising, good rising. We have Rendell L. Solomon online. Do we have you on the line? There you are. Good rising, good rising.
For you.
Hey, how are you? I'm super fantastic. Good to have you.
All right, 5:10 a.m. in Chicago.
That's okay. That's okay. We understand that it's 5 o'clock. We thank you for being up, though.
I'm happy to do it.
Okay. So I read the story on Monday about your decision to buy your niece stock. Prior to purchasing her stock, what was your options? Like, did you think about a Barbie? Did you think about a big wheel? Did you think about a new book? What did you think about prior to having that light bulb moment?
It's funny, I tell this story all the time, and so I've always gotten, this is my first niece, second great-grandchild in our family. I'm the oldest, so my middle sister had the first baby of the family. Of our siblings, 3 of us. And so I've been spoiling that child since she was born. So I've actually, technically, this was not her first investment. When she was born, I opened up a college savings account for her. And not just putting money aside in a savings account in savings programs. So she technically has been a part shareholder for years now. I've been putting money in there every month. And I've always bought her functional gifts. I am not the uncle that buys her toys. She still loves me. But, I wasn't buying toys, games, dolls, clothes. I let her granny and her mother and her aunt and her great-grandmother do that for her. I've always bought her books, technology, a globe, so she can start thinking about just the world in general. A lot of kids, especially here in Chicago, don't even get off of their street corner or their block, let alone start to think about global travel. So I literally bought her a globe just so she can start thinking about locations in the world of travel. And then last year decided I was going to buy her shares of stock in public companies.
What companies did you buy her stock in?
Sure, this is my typical SEC disclaimer, Tayla, because I cannot give direct financial advice, and I don't want anyone to take what I'm saying and assume that this is either necessarily quote-unquote good stocks to buy. My focus was just to buy stocks in companies that she would know and that she would recognize. And three of the more popular ones, whatever you think about their products, services, etc., I bought her Nike, Apple, and Disney. She's 8 years old, and part of the reason I bought those, if you walk down Michigan Avenue, Mag Mile, a location here in downtown Chicago, about a mile long with all the shopping, all the cool stores, there's Nike Town, Apple Store, and Disney Store, and they happen to be right next to each other. So when I bought her the shares, and I'm sitting in my office explaining what it means, I didn't get super technical with it because she didn't need that, and that's not the goal of the program. I wasn't trying to pull out a 200-page quarterly report and have her read it at 8 years old on the company. I just walked into the stores with her one by one, and I said, Cadence, look around. Everything in this store is yours. And I paused, and I said, the shoes, the clothes, the jerseys, the balls, the dolls, the movies, the dresses, the costumes, the bears, the phones, the computers, the tablets, everything in the store is yours. She goes, well, do I get free stuff now, Corinne? I said, it doesn't quite work that way, Cadence. But then she said, well, do I make money when people buy stuff? I said, you kind of do. Let me explain what that means. And I could see the interest developing in her face now that she was an owner. And that's when the light bulb went off, is that one of the challenges, particularly when it comes to financial literacy, financial education, you may have specific questions about that. And the second is the information is out there. There is not a shortage of information as it pertains to just how to manage money. From credit to savings to investing to real estate, whatever it is, the information is accessible. What I realize the gap is oftentimes is inspiration and motivation. What's going to drive someone to want to go get that information as they're going about their lives? And so starting early is crucial. And then finding a way to hook them in to want to understand it. And so a few weeks later, she actually asked for more stock, and I bought her some at Starbucks this time. And she walks into a Starbucks with her mom, my sister, grabs her mom by the arm and says, Mommy, I own this place a little bit. And again, even the light bulb just shined brighter because I realized that even though she wasn't fully versed in the world of investing, she knows now that when she sees an Apple logo, a Nike swoosh, a Disney logo, movie, or ESPN, and now when she walks into a Starbucks, that she is an owner. And I thought that that was a powerful concept to pursue, less on the sort of complicated curriculum as it relates to investing, but simply to plant that seed that she too can be an owner.
How did your sister feel about that? Like, Mommy, I'm part owner of this, and your sister's like, not exactly.
What do you mean, not exactly? That's exactly what it means.
So her mom was like, yes, you do, baby. Exactly, you do own it.
You own it. I mean, you don't get free stuff. You still have to buy goods and services. The individuals don't necessarily report to you. You're not their boss. But my sister has been super supportive of it. She loves what I'm doing with my niece. They have done an amazing job raising that child. And she always says cool, witty stuff like that. Anyway, really smart. Just got a scholarship award here in Chicago for school. She's in 3rd grade. And so I text her. I don't know. I just posted this on Facebook literally last night around how about Amazon? Did you see that they bought Whole Foods the other day? Takes her 2 days to text me back, so I don't know what a 9-year-old was doing from Saturday to Monday to text her uncle back. So she finally texts me back and says, oh, hey, I just saw your text. Yeah, Amazon sounds cool. Can you get me some of that? And then I said, great. How much is it? Because now she knows how to go online and on her phone to check the price of a stock right now. So she texted me back a picture of their stock from yesterday, and it went down a little bit, less than 0.5%. But she's not factoring in how much it went down. She sees that it's red. And so when she sees a stock in red, she thinks it's not necessarily a good stock. And so she texted me back a picture of the stock price, the big open eye surprise face emoji, and says, whoa, I don't know. How about Unilever instead? So I thought that was kind of amusing just because she saw that they were down yesterday. She didn't necessarily want Amazon stock.
So I personally am not well versed in stock. And I'm looking at the picture that you posted, and Amazon is at $992. So is that one stock, one piece of ownership in Amazon is $992.59?
Is how much it costs currently for one share of Amazon stock, $992.59. Now, would I plan to buy the share of Amazon? No. And what you just touched on, perfect segue, is that to get into the world of investing, for someone like you just said, I'll pick on you just a little bit because you fit exactly where the majority of Americans are, is that you look at that and you say, wait a minute, I'm not about to pay $1,000 for one share of this company. I may not even have $1,000 to buy one share. Not to mention, as you pointed out with Cadence, having a small piece of these companies, there are millions of shares out there to buy. Amazon's a huge company. And so if you want to buy a reasonable amount of a company, and again, I won't get into all the details, I don't think on this call, then you have to have a fairly significant amount of money that you're investing at that time. At least that's the stigma. That is the belief associated with, like, I can't afford to go buy Amazon right now, so I can't get involved with this. And that's oftentimes what deters people from even getting involved in the investment world, this myth that you have to already be rich or have millions of dollars to participate in the world of investing. And unfortunately, there are many other ways to get involved in the investment world that does not require thousands and thousands and thousands and for millions of dollars.
So, okay, disclosure one more time. The thoughts, feelings, and beliefs Arendelle Solomon are not stock. This is not who you should take your stock information from. We are just discussing it on a broader scale. This is not him advising you, correct?
It is not. I actually have an entire disclaimer that I could read from my lawyers, but I'll hold off on it for right now. I think what you just said is good enough. That'll keep me from getting in trouble.
Okay, and with that being said, I do have some questions that, like, informationally, I would like to share. So, first and foremost, as far as shares are concerned, stock shares, how does stock shares work? Like, very fundamentally, if I was a student in your class, one stock, one future, how would you explain stock to me?
Gotcha. So the way the class works is, interesting. I work with students, or children rather, underserved youth between the ages of 8 and 18. That's what I decided where my focus was. I picked age 8 because that's how old Cadence was. I thought there was some poetry there. But more specifically, 8 years old is around third grade. And as we know, whereas I looked up, third grade, and anecdotally working with my, just knowing my needs, is about where a child starts to become a little more aware of the world around them. So I figured 8 years old might be a good place to start. A little deeper is that third grade, when you think about the so-called school to prison pipeline, this where there's an assessment of where a child is academically, reading skills, math skills, has been used as a predictor of whether or not a child is more likely to end up going to college or going to jail. And so I figure, well, if that's happening out there, if there's a group of people, a system that is looking at young children and saying, you children of color in particular, and One Stock, One Future is not a program solely for students of color, but there's a system that's saying, hey, you can't really read a certain level by third grade, I can tell you're more likely to go to jail in the next 12 years than you are to go to college. I wanted to directly combat that. And so I said, let me start giving stock away to kids in third grade and teach these basic classes about stock and literally donate shares to each student in the class, turning them into an owner. And so what I talk to them about in the class, I just talk to them about what they know. It's like the Warren Buffett style of investing. He's arguably one of the greatest investors of our time. And one of his mantras is just buy what you know, which doesn't necessarily get into the fundamentals and the finance involved with it, but just buy the companies that you know. And so when I go into the class, the discussion sort of walks through 5 modules. Before I even get to a stock, Tayla, I got to talk a little bit about money. You can't really understand shares of stock in a company unless you understand just basically what money is and how it's used. How do you get it? You have to go to college, get a job. You make money, then you have to save, you have to buy things. But what do you have to buy? You have to buy goods and services for things you do every day. And we talk about what those goods and services are that they might buy. Their cell phones, taking flights, buying a car, playing video games. And then I go, okay, great. Now you understand you got to buy goods and services. Did you also know you could own a piece of that company from which you already buy goods and services? And I say, great, let's just put a list of companies on the wall, and I get a volunteer. And I say, name some cell phone companies. Name some cell phone service providers. What video games do you play? What airlines do you know? What foods do you eat? What shoes do you wear? And we walk through a variety of categories. And I go, great, I want you guys to break up in a group and talk about which company you want to own. And because it's really just that straightforward. I don't get into the heavy mathematic fundamentals, things like price earnings ratio, volatility. Am I boring any viewers right now with these terms?
No, but I would love a definition of all of them and what do they mean to me.
That's not me.
Ah.
That's not me. I can direct you to tons of people who can come on and walk you through every one of those more complicated financial terms. Because it's not vernacular that we use every single day.
That's not vernacular that we even understand, let alone use. So, yes, please, direct me, connect me. I would love to have those conversations because these are conversations that we don't have. This is not dinner time conversations. This isn't things that we are familiar with. It's not until we attend a seminar or we walk in the wrong room and we start learning about things that we never heard about, or until we have conversations, unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness, so we can have an understanding, so we can no longer be the 99% out here trying to make ends meet when we know ends don't meet. That's why they're ends.
Tayla, you hit the nail on the head, and, when it comes to those conversations that you just spoke of, they weren't happening in my home. My late mom passed 11 years ago. My father, who was at home and trying to make some things work, there was never this discussion. Mom was trying to get by. She was focused on food, shelter, and clothing and getting us a good education, which she did. For all through me and my sisters, three young people growing up on the west side of Chicago, lower middle class. I thought we were poor, but then as I got older, I realized what poor really meant. And so I think by definition, we weren't poor. We had everything we needed and a few things that we wanted. And there are people out there right now who just can't afford the things that they need. So a lot of these discussions about investing is even more complicated for them because there are different needs that group has around budgeting, needing to make more income in general. If you're on the west side of Chicago, a family of 4 can be making $18,000 a year. Hard to tell them they should go buy a share of Amazon stock for $1,000 when they're making $18,000 a year with 2 kids at home. But that what you said about talking about these things in the home. I'm on a mission to socialize investing. It's always been a part of my vision for One Stock, One Future, as well as other initiatives that I have going on. And so how can we make that conversation every day? I was in a restaurant the other day with a group celebrating a friend, or a while back celebrating a friend's going away. And I saw a gentleman ask a woman with a Fitbit on. They both had one on, and they didn't know each other. But he proceeded to ask her how many steps she had taken that day. And they began to have an entire conversation about their workout routine. And I was fascinated by this. I said, we don't do that with money. Hey, Tayla, did you pay your credit card bill last month like you were supposed to?
Sure did. Even put a little something on the principal.
Boom. Have you put money into your 401k?
So, to be honest, I don't have a 401k. I can't even say 401k. I honestly do not have one.
That's okay. What I'm getting at is that is not something, with you and I first speaking right now, that would be a natural part of our conversation. Where'd you grow up? Where do you live? What do you do? That's part of the conversation. But asking you about your money is this private, can't talk about it. Sometimes we're ashamed of it. Sometimes we're disappointed by it. And just like health, exercise, and so many other areas, things we like to keep to ourselves when they're not where they need to be, when we know they're not where they need to be. So we don't ask for help. We don't go out and talk about it, and we hide from it. We hide until that point, like you said, when it piles up so much and you just can't deal anymore. And from there, that's when you have to take out more debt, try to get yourself out of these issues. Problem gets worse. You're still not talking about it with anyone. I'm trying to help folks get away from that. Again, there are plenty of people with the technical skills. Yes, can I walk you through a whole program to either fix credit, improve your credit, but it's really not that complicated. And that's the tough part. A lot of these things are some very simple principles around money. I realize that the issue is not the content, because to work on your credit, it literally just requires a couple of emails and a couple of phone calls. Doesn't happen instantly. It takes time. I'm just using one example of finance. But it's just calling your credit card company and saying, hey, I'm struggling a little bit keeping up with my bills. Is there anything we can do to lower my interest rate or help you with my payments? It is just that simple. If we had time, we could do a real life case study right now, call up a credit card company and get somebody's interest rate lowered.
Can we actually, would it be possible for us to do that later, to do a case study later, and we can do it over the phone and I'll Facebook Live it, and we can do it a case study that way?
I definitely got to talk to my lawyers about that one, but yes, let's maybe come back and revisit that one. I'd love to, but I do it all the time. Just call them up, ask for a lower interest rate. They're going to tell you no, because that's literally what they're trained to do. They just say no, whatever you ask for. No, sorry, Tayla, can't help you. And your response should always be, thank you very much, Rondell. Can I please speak to your supervisor? And I'm going to tell you,
I see you, Jarvis. I see you.
I told you. So, I'll check. If you really want to talk to them, you should go, I understand that they're going to tell me the same thing, but I really appreciate it. You've been wonderful, Rondell. But can I please speak to your supervisor? And then Lamar gets on. That's my middle name. Hi, Taylor. How can I help you? I understand you're trying to get your rate lowered. And you ask for it again. I click a few buttons in the background, and you say, or I say to you, sorry, it looks like I can't authorize that right now. Which leads me to a very important lesson that for those who are listening, watching, write this down. Do not accept a no from someone who's not authorized to say yes.
Oh.
Do not accept a no from someone who's not authorized to say yes. I practice that principle a lot, whether it's improving credit, calling the cable company, calling the light bill. Take that initiative. Call these companies up and tell them you want discounts. You want a deal. You want the lowest price they can offer. You want the lowest interest rate they can offer. Those are some of the basic lessons that I would focus on if I was teaching these classes regularly. And I'll be coordinating some here in Chicago.
I should teach class. I'm the queen of this.
Chair of the Economic Empowerment Committee. I'll be doing some of these classes along with a couple of my peers where we bring folks in and walk through some of these principles around budget and credit. Because even if you can't improve your income, there's only two ways to get your money under control. Either make more of it or spend less of it. Right? And so you just got to figure out which side you can work on right now. If you can't increase your income right now, then you got to figure out how to lower your expenses. And one of the ways to do that, short of cutting the services that you use and the products that you buy, you reduce the number of expenses of what you've already used. So if you can save $30 on your credit card bill, if you can get your phone bill down $20, all these things start to add up. You lower a credit card interest rate from 19% to 15%, that could add up to tremendous savings over the year if you are carrying a balance.
Good rising, Big City 101.3 FM. I am TaylaAndre. You are listening to Big City 101, Waking Up with TaylaAndre. We are talking with Rendell Solomon. We are talking about finances, not just his company, One Stock, One Future, but finances as a whole. And, you know, this weekend we have a huge event. The Boston Business Builder is going to take place at the Bruce Bowling Building, 12 to 6 p.m. We will be having conversations, centered around this, tailored around this, talking about education, financial education, talking about entrepreneurship, talking about generational wealth. For those who have never seen this flyer, and for those that have, I think there's an important piece that a lot of people are missing. So out of the 40,000 small businesses here in Boston, we generate $15 billion a year. Out of that $15 billion and out of those 40,000 small businesses, minority-owned businesses, that includes Asians, that includes white women, that includes women as a whole. Minority does not mean black, okay? So minority-owned businesses comprise 32% of Boston's small business market and generating $2.7 billion in funds. One of the things that I want you guys to focus on is out of that 40,000, 32% is 4.8. But right now we're only generating 2.7. We are generating half of the money that we should be generating, and we need to find out, we need to get to the bottom of it. We need to invest in each other. We need to start buying black or buying local, or stop spending your money at big box businesses. We will be having this discussion this weekend, Sunday. Get your tickets if you have not already for the Boston Business Builder. We are currently on the line with Rendell Solomon. We have a caller on the line. If you have any questions regarding finance, this is just a conversation. He is not giving out stock information. He is not your advisor. Do not take him, say, oh, well, he told me. He did not tell you nothing. He's not telling us anything. We are sharing information that may or may not be helpful to you. With that being said, we do have a call on the line, 617-282-0062. What questions do you have? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Go ahead and inbox me, and I'll read your question on air. If you want to be anonymous, go on and slide in a DM. Good rising, caller, you're live.
Good morning. Good rising.
Talk to me, baby.
I think so awesome when he said he takes his nieces to the stores and tell them that she got a share. Can we have him come to Boston, Taylor? Can we make this happen? Tell all these children in Boston that they all Nike and they all Reebok. Believe me, they will be interested. That was so awesome. I love what he said. Can we get him to come to Boston, Taylor?
Baby, if you shut your radio off, I'll do whatever you want. But absolutely. Rendell, is there a possibility that you can come to Boston? Can we bring you? Can you teach a One Stock, One Future class here?
I think that's definitely feasible. I've been at this for about a year now, so we didn't talk about the date. So the date I took Cadence to the stores and bought her shares was a Friday, March 8th, 2016. Light bulb went off. About 3 months later, so April, May, June, 3.5 months, June 24th, a Thursday, I sat at a computer here in my apartment. Throughout that time, I worked with my lawyer here and peers, and I started thinking about what my board would look like, and I formed a 501c3. So nonprofit was formed. I wanted to just go out and start doing these classes and giving away shares, but I needed to have some kind of legal structure behind it. So I went through that. Got the website designed by one of my 100 Black men brothers here, Jeff Beckham, who runs Black Box Creative. I had my lawyer, Jamal Jackson, hook me up with all kinds of amazing legal work just to get the place thing formed. Website, logo, opening up bank accounts, starting to set up a fundraising campaign. All my social media was set up. Good friend here, Jessica. And so on Thursday, June 24th, right around 11 p.m., I hit basically the go button on all of that. And it was out in the world. I'm fundraising, my site is live, social media's up, and people's response was phenomenal. Raised about $30,000 so far to do this. And I wanted to get several classes done here in Chicago so I could see what it felt like. What were the challenges going to be? What was it going to be like to sit in front of these students and start talking about these concepts? Would they be receptive? Would the parents be receptive? That's another hurdle. Would they go open the accounts afterwards the way they need to? And so that's where I am now. I've done about 10 to 12 classes with a variety of nonprofits and other organizations here in Chicago that cater to the groups that I'm trying to serve. Because this is not just a program for students. I envision going to work with foster students, homeless students, children in the juvenile detention center. Right? I want to turn all these youth into shareholders because my program is about hope, inspiration, empowerment, and opportunity. And I want to spread that across the country. So that's a long answer to saying, yes, I'd be happy to come to Boston at some point. You need to pick, I'll start with you and then we'll figure out what are the organizations, what are the groups that I can connect with where I'll come out, do a workshop with a group of students, a group of children, and then boom, I'm donating shares to each one, whatever they want.
So how does that work, for instance, the actual class? It's been less than a year, and you said you've had multiple. How long do they last? At the end, how does the stock work? You mentioned something about parents properly opening accounts. How does from beginning to end, how does that, can you navigate us through what that would look like if I was to take your class?
Yes, can definitely do that. There's a video online on YouTube under my account, and at my social media, probably on my Facebook page, you can, and that's at One Stock One Future with the number one stock, the number one future. You'll see a brief overview of the first class that I did back in July. And so how it looks is students are generally sitting in groups or in a classroom style. I have a short presentation on the board where I walk them through those 5 modules that I talked about earlier. What is money? What is saving versus investing? What is saving versus spending? What are goods and services? What is a company? What is stock? And we spend about 45 minutes to an hour just walking through that, and there's some back and forth with the students. I'm asking them questions, and they're throwing out responses, and they're asking questions along the way. And so when we get to the end, I already told you about the exercise I do where I ask for a volunteer. I get them to list a bunch of companies on the board, not all of them, obviously, but I want them to throw out brands that they know. And then I ask them to get around in a group and tell me why they want to buy or why would they like to own a specific company. And I don't guide them at that point as to everything they should think about. I just want to hear them talk. And what's been most amazing to me is this intuitive approach that they take to deciding what they want to own. They simply come at it from, everybody's got an iPhone, so let's buy Apple. Or the group say, Google is everywhere. Everybody uses Google. That's the only search engine that's out there. And so and then when United had their incident, they go, I don't know about United, y'all. They just had that incident online. They dragged their customer off the plane. And so they start to have these conversations. It simply gets them thinking and talking and having that conversation that you and I were speaking of earlier that children wouldn't naturally have. They wouldn't naturally start talking about businesses and how they're doing. And as I'm listening to them, I offer out some more information for them to think about. I was like, guys, what is the goal of a company? The goal of a company is to make profits, to make money. Well, if a company is going to make more money, maybe that's a company you want to own if its share price is going, if you think it's going to go up. What can impact whether or not a company makes money? We walk through things like competition. We walk through global events. We talk about politics. We talk about weather. We talk about war. We talk about the quality of the products and the services. So after that class is done, clap, 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 lots of fun. We do a rock, paper, scissors exercise to figure out who's going to be the first student in the class to actually get a certificate for share stock. And so the way the financial transfer happens, and this is one of the more, as I mentioned earlier, that just the myth around how much money you need to start investing is out there. One of the other challenges with investing is accessibility. Most people don't know the very first thing to do to purchase share stock. Where do you go? Do you just walk into the store? Do you walk into a Mickey D's and say, hey, can I get a quarter pounder, large fry, 10 shares of stock? It doesn't quite work that way, right? But you'd be surprised at what people think about going to get shares. And so I had to navigate how to actually get stock to kids. It's hard to do with any of those large, what they call brokerage firms. It's basically like a bank account for stock. Companies like Fidelity, Charles Schwab, it wasn't easy to navigate how to get these shares to kids. And I came across a company called Stockpile.com. Stockpile, STOCKPILE, that allows you to buy gift certificates the same way you would buy a gift certificate to walk into a store and buy a product. I can buy gift certificates and then send that electronic gift certificate to a child and their parent. Then the parent can use the funds on that card to open up an investment account. And Stockpile walks them through all that. So I don't need to necessarily be involved in the actual opening of the account. My name is not on their account, but the parent and the child are on the account, because you can't own shares on your own if you're under the age of 18. So you have to open something called a custodial account where a parent or guardian is connected to it. So now you can see a deeper part of my mission is that by definition, by working with these children, the parents now have to get a little more involved. And they may not be versed in these areas. I've had numerous adults say, Rendell, when can you start a one stock, one future for adults? So I'm not quite there yet, but I'm working on it.
Yes, baby. Yes. I'm so excited. I'm super excited. So a question that I have, because this is a conversation that many adults are a part of, is marijuana. How do I find, that stock is about to blow up. How do I find a company? This is, again, Rendell Solomon is not an expert in stocks. He is not teaching us about stocks. We are having a candid conversation that may or may not be helpful. Do you want to add to the disclosure?
No, no, I think I have a response for that one. So, I am not well versed in the marijuana stock investing world. I know some folks out there who are looking at opening stores or dispensaries. I've seen them out in Colorado. Illinois is talking about some stuff there. That's not my area. But here's what I would say generally about that. And just like any other investments, it starts with some research. I mean, anything you're going to invest in, you want to research it, and you want to understand what are the fundamentals of that industry. What is that market going to look like? Who are going to be the customers? Who are going to be the competitors? Why is one company going to do better than the other one? Those are the questions that you want to ask, and to find experts in that area to whom you can pose these questions, to understand what are the things you should be thinking about. And not simply, this looks like the next new hot thing, let me go throw a bunch of money in there. If it fits your overall investment horizon, my recommendation, and it's not exactly getting to your question, my recommendation would be to truly find an advisor, which, as you said in your disclaimer, unfortunately can't be me for a whole lot of legal reasons. But find a financial advisor it could be a large financial services firm, it could be a small firm, but find an advisor to, first of all, walk through your entire financial picture. Walk through your financial picture, because just because something looks like it's going to be a new next hot investment doesn't mean it's right for your portfolio. The three of the biggest factors that are going to impact your ability to derive returns over the long term, and by long term I mean over the next 25, 30 years, is to start investing early, just as early as you can, whether it's 15 or 25 or 35. Every year, 5 years, 10 years that you wait, you have done yourself a huge disservice. And I don't mean big numbers. Just get in the habit of investing something. We'll get into what in a second. So start early. Do it consistently. Don't decide in January you want to invest a little money, but February, March, April, you're not. And then in May, June, maybe you do a little bit if you get everything else covered, and then you stop again July, August, September. Consistently, every check, every new dollar that you earn, you got to put money out there and invest it somewhere. Start early, be consistent, and then the last one is diversification. Diversification. When I bought shares of Nike, Apple, and Disney for Cadence, and I came back and said, well, she told me a couple weeks later she wanted some more stock. I said, cool. Do you want more of what you already have, or do you want a new stock? She said she wanted a new stock. So now her portfolio went from 3 stocks to 4 stocks. She became a little more diversified. And all that means is don't put all your eggs in one basket. So you can be diversified within stocks themselves, big companies, small companies, international companies, companies in different industries, consumer, technology, retail, etc. But then you can also be diversified in the types of investments that you have in your portfolio. So public stocks and public companies is one type of investment. Real estate is a different type of investment. Hedge funds, you may hear about those. We will not get into that today. It's a different type of investment. Land is another type of investment. And so what you're getting into when it comes to marijuana, a whole other industry to look at. Financial currencies. So there's various types of investments that you can pursue, but I think it fundamentally just starts with the basics of starting early, be consistent when you're investing, and to be diversified, and to start with what you know. My fear is that for those who are just getting started in the investment world, that the inclination is to jump to whatever is hot right now. Jump to whatever is hot right now and say,
I want what look like shit that finna grow.
Let me speculate as to where that industry is going to go and see if I can put some money in it and capitalize on it.
Weed is like $1 right now. Imagine when it goes to 1,000.
Stable companies that are going to make decent money over the long term. They may not grow super fast, but that doesn't mean you can't have that new growth industry as part of your portfolio. But my recommendation would just be diversified. Be diversified. Don't have all your money in the next new hot thing, because guess what? What if that next new hot thing gets really cold really fast?
Rendell Solomon, waking up with TaylaAndre. We do have another call on the line. Good rising, caller. You're live.
Good rising, Taylor. And also good rising to the guest. I got a question for him. Do you think Capital One savings, they're giving me 1%. Do you think it's a good place to put your money, capital-wise?
I don't know. Did you listen to the disclosure? He cannot advise.
I can give a general comment though, Taylor.
Absolutely, I'm for it.
So this comment is not necessarily directed to Capital One and whether or not it's a good place to save, but rather what you just spoke of is a savings account is part of a diversified investment portfolio. So the rate of return is written there on paper as 1%. So at least you know that that's where you're going to get there. That's not going to beat inflation, meaning that the price of goods and services are going up. But it's good to save something and make some return. So putting it in a 1% account is better than letting it sit under your mattress.
Okay.
want to have 6 to 9 months of emergency income. Why is that? Things happen. Things happen from disability to something happening at your job and you unexpectedly, the firm starts to downsize. If you wake up one day, you want to make sure you got 6 to 9 months to live off of in case a bad situation happens. And I know that doesn't resonate with probably a lot of the listeners. I know within my family, we've been there when we were younger. The concept of having 9 months of money to pay for food, shelter, and clothing, just sitting in a bank, absolutely foreign within my family. Again, we were month to month. Just like most Americans.
Sometimes in 2017, it's really week to week, not even month to month. And if you're doing well on month to month, you're doing better than half of Bostonians at $35,000 a year. So I just want to let you know, Rendell, that we thank you, we love you, we appreciate you. We are not far removed from what's going on in the south side of Chicago. Boston and Chi-Town, we have a lot of similarities. So, you're speaking on our heartstrings, pulling on our heartstrings right now because we understand where you're coming from. 9 months of funds sounds impossible to some. With that being said, we are coming to the top of the hour. Can you ask your attorneys if we can have you back?
I can definitely do that, and they're probably going to give me a whole new disclaimer that they want me to read, but I think we can make it happen. I've enjoyed chatting with you. I encourage folks to check out One Stock, One Future, and for even more, I'm going to give one shout out to John Hope Bryant from Operation Hope, and I encourage everybody listening to look him up. Operation Hope. They have offices all over the country, and they are really getting heavy into improving some of these financial situations in some of the most underserved communities around the country, from credit to budgeting to mortgages, because that's the foundation. You got to fix those things. He uses a phrase, and as I really let you go, a lot of folks, we talk about having living month-to-month paycheck. He says there are a lot of folks out there who have too much month at the end of their money. Too much month at the end of their money. That means if you're getting paid once a month, let's use that example, when you get to the 23rd, a lot of month left, not a lot of money left. We got to fix some of those fundamental areas right there, which opens up this world of investing to even more people once you start to fix credit, improve income, and help people with their budgets. Thank you so much. Really enjoy.
Hold on. I don't want you to leave yet. Because I do want, I would like for the listeners to hear me ask you if you can, like we said in the beginning of the show, for you to connect us so we can have more financial education conversations. And whoever, as far as John Hope Bryant and somebody who can actually walk us through stock, and maybe someone who can teach us, what if I just got my tax return, I have $2,000 that I want to invest, I don't know if I want to just buy 2 stock for $989, but how do I at least begin these stock options? How do I at least begin diversifying my portfolio when I'm still a renter and my credit's jacked up? I can't purchase property right now. I don't have 2 years tax return in the same field. Walk us through the steps so we can become more financially literate.
So that one's a little tougher because it's like I can give you the general steps that you would do, but again, everyone needs to figure out their own personal situation, how much they can do right now, talk to someone. But the steps to open it is to go online, and I don't know how it is with picking specific companies. I'm not marketing or advertising any of them, but to any of the what we call brokerage firms, whether it's a Fidelity.com, it could be Charles Schwab, it could be one of the larger firms, and just call them up. Remember I talked earlier about just the inspiration and the motivation to do it? I would say a good initial first step is just to call the company, the 1-800 number, and say, hello, I'm interested in opening an investment information in for those who are versed with doing things online, but you could walk into a brick and mortar, depending on if that's your preference. You can call them, you open an account, you connect it to a bank account, and you deposit some money, Tayla. It's really that straightforward. Now, the selection process of what you buy, like which securities, as we call them, so investments are called securities. Which one you buy and what makes sense for your portfolio, that is the more personal question that you just gave the disclaimer that I'm not going to get into. Whether it's buying a share of a specific company or whether it's buying a basket of shares called a mutual fund, which is something that I would say everyone should learn about. A mutual fund. Many people have heard the term, but don't necessarily know what it is. I told you I bought, for those who are listening, quick quiz, how many shares does Kate own?
4.
Nike, Apple, Disney, and Starbucks. So a mutual fund is essentially a collection of a lot more stocks in a lot of different companies. Why would it be beneficial to buy one of those? Well, you're getting exposure to a lot of different companies, meaning you're automatically diversified when you buy a mutual fund. You can also get access to some of the companies that have larger share prices by buying the mutual fund, because the mutual fund has bought a bunch of shares in that company.
And we are going to have to end it there. We are all the way at the top of the hour. Rendell Solomon, I posted all of his social media on my social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. One stock, one mortgage with the number 1, not spelled out. One stock, one mortgage. Thank you so much, Rendell. We love you, we appreciate you, and we hope to have you back soon.
One stock, one future, not mortgage.
Oh, I'm sorry. Real estate just kicked in. My apologies.
You ready to buy that property? Look, that's my spinoff. That's my spinoff company, my subsidiary.
I got you. I hope you have an amazing day. We love you, appreciate you. I hope you do. Come back. Rendell Solomon, principal at Muller and Monroe Asset Management, founder of One Stock, One Future. It is all over social media. Do not forget that this Sunday, please go out there, find out the Eventbrite, get connected. Boston Business Builder, hashtag Boston Business Builder, Sunday, June 25th, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. An event crafted for the entrepreneurial spirit seeking to grow their sales and profit. We don't have a money problem, baby. We have an education problem. Do not forget to go online as well and get that information so you can call your representative, so you can call your senator and say, hello, my name is TaylaAndre, and I live in Senator Sonia Chang Diaz district. I'm calling about the new marijuana law the House is about to vote on. The proposal excludes people with past marijuana convictions from taking part in the new economy and completely eliminates the part about providing opportunities for the communities most harmed by the war on drugs. These changes are unacceptable, and I urge Representative such and such to work to oppose them in the final bill. Thank you. And I thank you for listening. I want to give a huge shout out to Faith Naturals, all vegan, all natural, right here made in our community in JP, 66A South Street, from Pum Pum Wash to Yoni Eggs. Listen, girls, it is summer dress. Summer dress. I can't even think of the damn name. It's season of the dresses. And that Pum Pum spray is your best friend. You could be anywhere, sweating, your thighs all greased up, whoop, whoop, whoop. Get you some Pum Pum spray. I urge every female, and even men. I'm going to see if she can create like a buddy spray, just so you guys can have like the same love and care. Because I know y'all get sweaty down there too. I'll leave it just like that because it is not Freaky Friday. Waking up with TaylaAndre, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 7. I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. And I hope you have an amazing day today. Mwah!
You know what it is? It's DJ Sus1, the feature presentation. Listen, make sure you wake up with TaylaAndre Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 a.m. on Big City 101.3 FM. Wake up with the Radio Rebel. Politics, news, conspiracies. Wake up your y'all? It's your girl, Lady Luck, and you are now tuned in to Big City, right here on 101.3 with my homegirl, my buddy, my friend, TaylaAndre, Boston's #1 talk show. Keep it locked.
Thank you. I hope you guys have an amazing day today. I learned a lot. I hope you did as well. And we will continue these financial educations so that we can have unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. This is what we need in our lives, baby. This is what we need. So, Tanya, thank you so much. I'm with you 100% as far as like getting credit classes in schools and just like teaching the babies about financial wealth. Half these parents know nothing about financial wealth, so we definitely have to work together to make sure that these babies have the knowledge. A lot of the sites, when you open the account, have research there to start with, and you can open accounts with research companies and get information. Thank you so much, Rendell. I hope to have you back, and I can't wait to bring you to Boston. We definitely need to continue this type of conversation with people in our communities and low income and median income and even like middle class. Even the middle class ain't doing, hold on, I left YouTube. The middle class ain't doing that well. Just because you make $60,000 doesn't mean that you're actually preparing for your retirement. Doesn't mean that you have the ability to walk away from your job. Doesn't mean that you have 9 months worth of savings saved up. So we will continue this conversation. We will continue to have great guests that can teach us the right way. And when you know better, you do better. No excuses, though. Once you know better, you have to do better. And I'm working on my stock options, baby, diversifying my portfolios. Have a wonderful day.